All right, so
So basically,
What?
I'm going
It's
to
okay.
do those by MC.
What?
Yeah, I work
Two
part-time.
He's talking about me then what?
I use IMC every time I work, so I can, talk about
See
the
this?
importance of having
You talking about handicaps the other day? He's a 2 handicap.
user-friendly discount.
Sure, 78.
Whatever that ends up being.
Oh, you were the client
IMC
again?
is still in.
yeah, I wish. So I'm going to ask Mike to give a very brief presentation. This is the first time that we were here. And when you all read it, you read one of the.
No, absolutely.
And, if we wouldn't mind fielding some questions, so we understand that we'll be asking about the money or the time for payments, how long they term, the necessity of it. I'm sure if these folks don't answer that, I'm sure people understand.
Good. All right.
All right, thank you very much. Let's get the meeting going.
Yeah, good.
You're right up the sunset.
It's actually pavement around here, so I don't even know how to use it.
I understand that. Like this doesn't.
I don't even know if it's actual currency.
It's not.
It's actually an offload.
Yeah. So recording, Catherine?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday, June 21st meeting of the Pittsfield Town Council. So to start, I would invite everyone to stand up and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. So if I ask just for a brief moment of silence. All right, thank you all very much. So let's start off with number 2 on the agenda, the adoption of minutes of the regular meeting held on June 7th, 2022. I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I'll make a motion we adopt the meeting minutes held on June 7th, 2022.
I'll second. Move this second. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments from the council? Everything looks good. It's going in the record forever. Yeah, think about it, Zara. All right, hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of accepting the meeting minutes of the June 7th, 2022 meeting, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. The meetings for the regular meeting held on June 7th, 2022 will be passed. So we're going to go out of the sequence a little bit. We have some gentlemen from the Somerset County law enforcement community. I apologize, I can't remember everyone's name, and that's not a good thing for a politician. So what I'd like to do is to move to new business, resolution 2258. Catherine, if you would, please.
Yes, thank you. Resolution 22-58. Resolved that the town council approve the town joining the Somerset County Dispatch Console Upgrade Project and the expenditure of funding required for participation by the Pittsfield Police Department. Such funding total for all services, including license and maintenance, to not exceed $79,749.79, and which may be less with a different proration to be paid for with the American Rescue Plan Act funds.
I'll look for a motion from the council, please.
I'll make a motion that we open resolution 22-58 for discussion.
I'll second it. Move the second. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So, resolution 22-58, we have, as I mentioned, we have some gentlemen here that will provide a brief update, brief presentation. So I'll introduce Mr. Michael Smith. He's the Director of Somerset County EMA in the RCC 911. So, Mr. Smith, the floor is yours, please, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. I've just got to give you just a quick overview of where we started. I know I did include that in the email that I had sent to you, but I just want to kind of verbalize where we started and where we're at. The end of August of last year, we started some communications back and forth that actually, we had been doing it internally with our IT department, myself, my deputy director, and coincidentally, the day that we contacted Central Square about a possible demo just for us to see how the program works, two different chiefs reached out and said, do we think it's time that we start looking for a different program or an update to the program? IMC, we've been using since 2004. IMC actually started their public safety dispatch software in 1985. Throughout the last 15 to 18 years, the company's been sold at least 3 times. So that's just kind of where we were with it. And we know that, or so we've been told, that if we like what we see right now, we're good. But if we want anything for upgrades, they're not going to be doing upgrades to the current software. They'll maintain what's there. So basically, what you see is what you get, and that's what you're going to have for however long you decide to stay with it. So we decided it might be time to start taking a look around, being that it's going to be at least a 2-year project, to get us at least moving with it. So we had Central Square come up and do a demo for myself, my deputy director, the IT director, and the IT person who works in the communications center who's assigned to the public safety software. It seemed a very viable option to replace what we currently have. So we had some discussions with all of the chiefs and the sheriff and just started to move forward slowly, having some conversations. We set up another full demo. It was 2 days. We did it at the in the council room in Skowhegan, town of Skowhegan. They came up, they did a full day demo for dispatch, and then they did a full day demo for law enforcement, and kind of looking at the records management piece and everything that law enforcement would see from their side. We then came back to the table, and everybody agreed that that was the direction that we wanted to move in. And that was somewhere around the 1st of January. I believe it was like January 3rd or 4th, because I know I went out for a few weeks on January 5th. So I know it was the few days after New Year's. So we started the process, and as we moved along, different towns have, the chiefs have worked with their towns or advised their towns. The sheriff and I and the chief have met with the commissioners, and so we believe we were all moving in the same direction. And that's kind of where we are at this point. We then asked the company to spec out the licensing. There was a glitch in the licensing, which I have now corrected. The number of licenses were incorrect for a couple of the agencies, but they were trying to pull information from what we were using at IMC, so they didn't necessarily have exact information. So the price that we have now, I know the big piece of the price we have now is services. And the big piece of the services is the data conversion. Data conversion is $130,000. As I was telling the mayor before we started, we've been using IMC for 18 years. And I think in our largest year, we did a little over 100,000 calls for service in that year. So if you look at an average, it's probably 1.5 million records in there that need to be converted. And those are priceless to these guys out on the road to have for that historical data moving forward. Plus, they all share back and forth. What the sheriff's office does, Pittsfield sees. What Pittsfield does, Skowhegan sees. And we're kind of we're a big county, but law enforcement covers a lot of the 75% of the population in the lower part of the county. So a lot of times Pittsfield's dealing with the same person that Fairfield dealt with 2 weeks ago. So that's extremely important to have that information available to the officers. So that was why conversion of the data was so important for us. I don't know quite, anything else that I can cover at this point. I know there had been a question about a different formula used to calculate the services that apparently had been shared that Fairfield police chief had come up with using call reasons and call number of personnel. I had sent an email to the town managers, all 3 of the town managers last Wednesday, asked them to get together and decide which route we were going down, because personally from the county perspective it doesn't matter whether we go with one of the options that the Fairfield chief has provided or whether we go with the original option divided by 5, because quite frankly both options, one of them saves the county $400 and the other one saves it $6,000. So it doesn't impact where we are and where we are budgeted. I just needed a direction from them as to which way they wanted to go. I know Catherine had responded to me in an email that it would be the town's preference to go with one of the options from Fairfield. I heard back from Fairfield today, and they tell me that their option is to go with what was originally planned, and I have not heard from Skowhegan. So therefore, for me, it's either an all or nothing. You know, we can't pick and choose. It's not I want this one, and I want this one, and I want this one. We've all got to be on the same page to make the numbers come out right. So as it stands right now, we're at that original number that I shared with you in the email, 79.4, 79.7, whatever that number was. That number includes all of the services, which are the project management, the data conversion, the training, all of those pieces that were in the services. It includes all of your licenses, and it includes all of your first year's maintenance, that the first 12 months from the day we go live, which is projected to be right now about August of 2024. So one of the reasons for the delay is the state interfaces for Metro and for the 911 interface are currently not in place because we will be the first agency in the state using this particular piece of software. However, Franklin has already had a demo, Waterville's had a demo, Androscoggin has had a demo, Sanford has had a demo, so it's coming. You know, everybody's starting to, who are using IMC are starting to see that it's time to probably make that move and make that commitment to do something different. So I will leave it up to questions, I guess, at this point.
Okay, I'll start with a question that we had talked about before. Does the town of Pittsfield need to enter an agreement? What if we, as a town, say, you know, we already have a contract with the county. We don't want to spend any more money on this. I mean, it's probably an extreme, but it's certainly something we've been thinking about.
Well, you wouldn't have any licenses, first of all, to operate the program. And no training to operate the program. And I don't know what will happen to the data conversion piece as to whether they can cull out and save everybody else some money if Pittsfield decides not to come on by saying we're not converting Pittsfield's data. It's going to set an IMC and just stay there. And I'm giving you I'm not trying to be I'm giving you the direct. You know, what you're going to lose is you're going to lose all information that dispatch enters into the call. You're going to lose your ability to do your NIBRS report. You're going to lose the ability to do accident reports. You're going to lose the ability to do anything that is currently done in IMC that will be done in the new software, because IMC will be, for lack of a better word, just dormant for us at that point. You know, once we don't maintain the servers, because that is something that the county's doing, is maintaining the servers for IMC, those servers will go away.
So it's not just dispatch. We call, you guys answer, you send the help as needed. It's the reports, it's the data. It's calling the data that the let's say the town of Pittsfield Police Department needs, as you say, for the reports.
I'll go back to I don't know, it was a year or so ago. Catherine called me and wanted some reports that the previous chief had been supplying. So we went through and we culled some of those, and sent some of the basic shell information over. There's a lot of stuff we can't share. I mean, we can't share names and 911 calls. We can't share phone numbers, addresses, all of those things. Those are all covered by statute. But we can't, make sure that we, take out social security numbers and all that, names and all that. So we sent over a basic shell to her to create a report for the town of Pittsfield. You very easily could do that on your own. This new program, if the sheriff or the chief or whoever decides that on Monday morning they want a report of all burglaries that happened over the weekend delivered to their desktop, it'll be sent there in their email on Monday morning. There's many pieces to this that are different and so far advanced from what we're dealing with, and we're never going to have in the current program that we have. There's actually a field ops piece with this program, and what it does is it allows the deputy's smartphone with the app to actually create a VPN right back to the server. So if they're out in a motor vehicle accident and they take pictures with their phone, it sends it directly back to the server and never rests on their phone. So their phone is not discoverable at that point because it doesn't rest on their phone. It's going directly back to the server. They can actually verbalize their report and send it back to the server while they're on scene, or names or insurance information. Without even typing it in, they can verbalize it and send it back
Talk
to the
to text to each other.
Yeah, things like that will not be available, and possibly Mike, from the user and from his end using it, could touch on what those pieces are. As far as reporting, then Yeah, Mike, I'm sorry.
No,
There's too many mics in the room. I'm sorry.
So my name is Mike Pike. I'm the Deputy County Administrator for Somerset, but I've also been a police officer for 25 years for Somerset Sheriff's Office and also Pittsfield. I've been over here now for about 5 years, working part-time for Chief Bickmore. So I can't begin to explain how essential IMC is to just the operation of a regular patrol shift. Literally everything that we do in the field as police officers is filtered through IMC. So if the comm center receives a call, they take the information, they type it into IMC, it's transmitted to the laptop that we have in our cruiser. We're able to see all that information, we're able to see who the complainant is, their contact information, we're able to see what the nature of the call is, where we need to go, and that's all documented there for us. And if there are any warnings or cautions, about a particular individual that we're dealing with, it's automatically populated into that call. So it's really essential that we have that information before we get to the scene. And the other great thing about it is everybody's on that system. The Sheriff's Office is on it, Skowhegan's on it, Fairfield is on it. And oftentimes if it's a big call, a significant call with multiple agencies and units involved, we're all looking at the same information. And on the other end, arrest reports. If it results in an arrest, we're able to do our report right there, and the information is populated into that software. Same with an offense report. Maybe we don't make an arrest, but anytime that we take action or we respond to a call for service, we have a way to report about that. And, the powers that be, the town council, the town manager, if the question comes up, okay, how many calls for service did Pittsfield PD have in 2022? We're going to be able to immediately say, okay, we had 6,000, just as an example, 6,000 calls for service over that previous calendar year. There are just so many essential items in IMC. Now, I haven't seen Central Square. From what I hear, it's awesome. But IMC is no longer going to be supported. So we need to move ahead with something that allows all of the agencies to share that information, to be on the same page, and for first responders to be able to have that essential safety information that we need to respond to calls. And if one department isn't on that system, that department is going to really be behind the 8 ball as far as being able to access that essential information from dispatch. Sure, Mike or one of his dispatchers could call us on the radio and say, respond to 112 Somerset Avenue for a fight in progress. But we're not going to have any other information than that, other than what we're going to and where we're going. We're not going to know anything else until we get there and have eyes on and do the investigation. And then on the other end, what are we going to do with that information after? Are we going to write it up in our own departmental software that nobody else has access to? It isn't populated, it isn't shared with anyone else. There's just so many what-ifs that go along with not all being on the same system.
Okay, so thank you. I have several questions. I'll open up to the council. Eric, please.
Does this cross counties, like Piscataquis, Penobscot, Somerset, do you guys all talk together?
No, because we use disparate CAD systems.
So if this happened in a different county besides Somerset County, that information you're talking about is still not really available that way?
That is correct.
Okay.
And because Penobscot uses Stone, Piscataquis piggybacks on to Penobscot Stone. I'm not sure how it's done, but they didn't. I don't know how it worked, but they piggybacked onto what Penobscot had. I will tell you, I was telling the mayor before we started. The sheriff mentioned it as well. And I don't have these numbers directly. Okay, I do have them directly from the EMA director in Franklin County because they use IMC and they're looking to make the same transition we are. Mm-hmm. They called Spillman to come in and do a demonstration for them. When they got their price back from Spillman, their price originally was $2.1 million and was discounted down to $1.8 million, which is 3 times the cost of going to this proceed in Central Square.
Okay. So we're trying to do at the town and county level. Why doesn't the state do the same thing on their level, saying, hey, I want everyone in the state of Maine to use the same software on the county level so that the information can be shared across every town, every county. And I know, obviously, I'm asking questions that are above your scope, I'm sure, above all ours.
But I guess what I would say is if you look at 24 dispatch, 24 PSATs, 24 911 centers, who service anywhere from 3 to maybe 10 or 12 different law enforcement agencies, depending on where you are. And then you've got dispatch-only agencies. if for Franklin County, it's going to be $1.8 million to purchase Spillman to try to do a statewide implementation of a program like that, I don't see the state spending the money to do that, to be quite honest with you. You know, we have a state-based 911 system, okay? So if we answer a 911 call, it should have been on Scott with one button, we can send that 911 call to put on Scott. You know, we can do that with the 911 system. It's a little bit different because that's all controlled at the state level. It has been for years. That's about a $9 million a year budget that's taken off from your surcharge on your phones. You know, so there is a 911 surcharge, and that's what pays for the 911 system. CAD systems are completely different. You know, you're talking taking half of the state that's on IMC right now and converting all of that data to Spillman and creating one master file, and then who and where does that get controlled? Who controls the security rights to all of that? Who controls the security rights for the Sheriff's Department, which may be different than they are for Pittsfield PD? And, you know, as you go down through, you may have the chief who has every rights in the world. You know, he's got God rights up here. Sure. Then you go down to the sergeant who has different, down to the corporal has different, down to the patrolman who has different. But the patrolman in Skowhegan may not have the same security rights as a patrolman in the sheriff's office. And those are all of the things that we have to work out through that 24 months to figure out where we're going to get to. I get what you're saying. I just don't think it will ever happen. I've been told that I've been doing this. I've been at the county for 22 years. And I was told that prior to that, a number of years in like 1990, Spillman came into the state, and you may remember it, but offered every sheriff department Spillman free. At that point, our sheriff at the time elected not to take it because it came with an annual surcharge, annual maintenance fee, and he didn't want to pay the annual maintenance fee. Some counties did take advantage of that, you know, so that's why you do have it in about half the counties right now.
Right, and I do know that to answer your question, there have been discussions, lengthy discussions about the state all being under one records management system. A lot of politics involved. That's probably a surprise to you. But one of the bigger factors is it would be cost prohibitive to do that. They were even at one point talking, reaching out to the feds to see if they were after 9/11 to see if they'd be willing to do that. But at the end of the day, there was a huge cost of that.
I think one of the issues that I've seen, at least over the course of time since we started with IMC, I believe that the sheriff came from state police. State police has been on at least 3 different CAD systems in the amount of time that we've been on IMC.
Yeah, so we started out with RMS, which was a Motorola product, and the reason they got that was because it was free. So I mean, they've gone.
Well, if this was free, we'd be on board this soon.
We wouldn't be talking about it.
No, I mean, we understand. I mean, there's an investment in everything, right? We're just getting the best bang for your buck. I mean, I would think the value of scale. I mean, if you're going to do the whole state, you think you get one hell of a deal, converting the whole state to one program, but apparently not.
But it's more complicated than that.
Oh, I understand. I'm just an idiot, right? Like,
You're not. No, you're not. And what you're saying is taking away everything is probably the way to go. But then you get into the weeds of it, and
there's also home rule, you know, and you know, for the state to come in and tell every 911 center and every dispatch center that you're going to use this product, probably wouldn't settle well in some towns.
Right. Unless they said it was free. But anyway,
There are some towns where even that wouldn't settle well.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Councilors, anything else?
So what exactly is the amount? Because we've had like 3 different amounts. We have
Is it 79,744?
That's what we have in our packet. I just want to make sure that that's the correct amount that we're.
Right.
$740.
Yeah, is Fairfield on board with that? Like,
Actually, to be honest with you, that is, well, from the total that I sent you, okay, which is the total that I have and the total that I've been calculating everything on that I've come out with, there's a $5 difference for some reason. It may have just been a typo that somebody picked up something wrong. It's 79,744.79.
So Fairfield had indicated there was an error in the math, so I just added the $5.
Oh, okay, no, this is the corrected number, Catherine. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but the correct number, that's not the same number from the original proposal you had, because I know when we talked briefly before the meeting started, there were 2 numbers. You talked about Fairfield wanting to stay with the original,
This is the
was your original distribution of
the original
information.
distribution of the services.
And I believe, Kath, is this number of 79,749, is that the information we got from Fairfield and the chief of police's accounting?
This is the information that we got from EMA, however,
Okay.
Fairfield said it had a $5 difference, so I added it in. So you can call it just not to exceed 79,750.
So the number that the town of Fairfield accounted for is $5 off of the number that we had presented.
Basically,
Okay.
yeah.
So we're essentially talking about this one
It's
number.
the same thing.
Okay. All right.
But as far as our voting on the resolution, our number that we're going to use is 750 not to exceed.
Yeah, just, if you say not to exceed, like I said, it's under item that you're all set if it comes in with it.
So we'll throw in 21 cents in the pot. Any other questions, councils? Yes, Brent, please.
Is there a annual maintenance fee every year?
There is. And that, I'm still waiting for the contract, but I'm going to, because what I did was I asked Dave Bell from Central Square, I said, I need you to lay out for me what the increase in maintenance is going to be over 5 years or 10 years or whatever, the length of it is, if there is going to be an increase. And he said that will be in the contract. So therefore, what I'm going to say is your first year maintenance is where you're going to start out at maintenance, which is the 2604, I believe it is.
10,124, right?
No, that's your licensing. Your maintenance is the 26.
I thought it was 13.
Well, it's 1309.
79.
Right, but your licensing is 10495.
Oh.
Okay, and your first year maintenance is 260435.
So every year after that, how much would that be?
260435. Yeah, it's. I don't know what you're paying now in IMC. I think that's pretty close to it. You pay an annual IMC maintenance now, so.
We do, but it's less than that. But
Is it?
this is an upgrade, so that's understandable.
Well, and it doesn't surprise me, Captain, because I think the county for the sheriff department and the comm center is just about doubling from what it currently is. So, but once again, we're dealing with 2022 software and not 1990 software. So,
Windows 4. Yes, Lindsay, please.
So I'm just trying to kind of clarify in my own mind what the two paths are. One is don't do it. IMC will age out. It will become basically unusable for the purpose of continuity of information, and all that will be gone. We'll have to have an internal reporting system, documentation system, and we would become a dispatch-only center, essentially. Is that right?
well, I think Mike touched on it, and I didn't touch on it very well when I was speaking before. We can still enter your information into Central Square.
We're just not sure.
You're never going to be able to pull it out.
Right. So it's like, what's the purpose?
So, and what's going to happen is you're going to create double work for your employees because now they're going to come back. If you create your own database internally, they're going to come back now and have to enter all of that into your internal database that will automatically pull over from the CAD.
Right.
So
But so that's one path is
Right.
don't do it, and this
Yep.
is your outcome. You would be essentially dispatch only, and you'd have to have some sort of either duplicate workflow or a new workflow altogether
Correct.
that is undetermined.
Correct.
The other option is do it, pay the $79,000, and then we'd be 2 more years on IMC while you guys convert, and we would
Correct.
be one of the first people going with this company, right? You said this
We-
would be the first one in the state.
we will be the first in the state of Maine.
So this company has done this in other states.
This company covers, maybe the sheriff will remember, they're opening, one of their opening slides in the presentation that they did for us when they were doing the demo was 3 out of 4 people in the United States are covered by an agency that uses Central Square CAD.
Okay, so it's
So
already-
75% of the
Not
people
like
in the
some
country.
new
No.
people coming in.
No.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Any other questions, council? Yeah.
Yeah, just a quick question. In talking to the town of Fairfield, they indicated that this was the first phase of the conversion. Is there like another phase with cloud or something else down the road where we'll have to pay? And again,
Not
beyond,
that I know of, Catherine. This includes all of the physical servers because it's a managed service. So what that means is they're going to, right now, and here's another point that will show you the advantage. Right now, when there's an update to IMC, or there's a Band-Aid sent out or a fix sent out, every laptop in the county has to be brought to the communications center, and the IT guy has to physically touch that laptop to do the upgrade. So you're bringing all of your laptops over, dropping them off, coming back and picking them up. The new system, they will push these out, being a managed service, they will push it to the server, you will restart your laptop, and when you do, all of the updates will automatically populate. So I don't know, there is an option for a cloud-based, that was not our discussion at that point, so.
All right, thank
Would that be
you.
the way to go, though? I mean, if you're gonna make an upgrade like this, I mean, we know the cloud's next. I mean, servers are old school. I mean, that's not.
It is, right now, 3/4 of the servers in the county have been virtualized. I have talked to IT, they don't see doing that with us, at least on the front end, and if we're paying for, I mean, I say we, if the county's already covering the cost of all the servers, that's not figured in, that's figured into the communication center portion of the bill is the servers, which is about, I think it's about $50,000 the first year for the servers and the maintenance for the first year. If we're going to go that direction, that will be county IT that will take care of that.
So, yeah, go ahead, Brett.
In one of the correspondence, I think you might have just touched on it, we can pay that amount over a 2-year span, so we can
Yes.
half 1 year and half the next.
Yeah, and that was what, when the sheriff and Chief Bogdan and I met with Catherine, that was kind of what we were saying was, is we understand you're on a different budget cycle than all of the other departments, which we just changed a few years ago and went to the fiscal instead of the calendar. It won't be full payment right up front. As soon as I get the contract, we'll know what their payment schedule is, but we obviously aren't going to pay for the entire product until the product goes live with us and we make sure that it works all right. So, it's a 2-year project. So if you budgeted half of it into your 23 budget and half into your 24 budget, you would have it all there before we hit that cutoff point for 24 when we go live and they're going to look for their final payment. So we might do half at wherever they call for, half at one point, and then a quarter, and then a quarter, or however they send it to us. It goes to our attorney, and our attorney decides whether they like that or not. So,
Thank you.
Jason.
So if we pass this resolution, it states where they're going to use the ARPA money to get this?
That, I think that's an option, but we can certainly discuss that.
Yeah, 'cause we don't,
So I have the answer to that.
Yeah, Catherine, please.
Yes, basically, under the town charter, in order to encumber the town, we have to have money someplace that we can encumber. So we can't sign an agreement or send a letter to the county under the town charter unless we have the money. So right now, we're going to encumber the ARPA. However, we're going to budget in 2023 and 2024. We just can't encumber those years for our half, the half we're going to pay each year.
and
So
what,
this makes it legal for us to commit to the county for,
It's essentially a financial.
right, can we add the $80,000 in ARPA monies?
yes, because we saved
Really?
$110,000.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
For the highway.
Close, okay.
Eventually they'll get it.
But since we're all very, very good at budgeting, we may find something else. I say that very wishful. So my question to you, sir, when would you need resolution from the towns? Let's talk about Pittsburgh. When do you need to have our response? Of course, it's going to be sooner than later.
June 28th.
June 28th. Okay.
The schedule, I have the
So there's no pressures, like you say.
Right. I have the closed plan from Central Square, and I did tell them that by June 28th we would have commitment of whether the agencies were going to go or
Okay,
not.
very good.
I can tell you it could be the 29th because Skowhegan actually will vote on theirs the 28th. So therefore, I think yours is tonight, Fairfield's is tomorrow night, and Skowhegan's is on the 28th. So.
Okay.
But our goal right now is in the closed plan is to be signing a contract by the 17th of August. So to get this project rolling because literally it's a full 24 months.
So a follow-up to something you had mentioned prior to the meeting, you touched upon during your presentation. You talked about you got a response back from the town, you got a response back from Fairfield, no response from Skowhegan. But it sounds as though if the three towns don't agree on the same avenue, I mean, and you certainly don't want to weigh into that. You don't have the authority to tell the towns what they can and can't do.
Absolutely.
I mean, because I think we have an idea of what we're going to do tonight. I mean, we'll have an idea before the meeting ends. Is that a situation that we need to be worried about if you're having issues with Fairfield or Skowhegan?
I'll be quite honest with you. I don't believe there are issues with Skowhegan or Fairfield with this going forward. Because I have already been asked by Scott Egan if their 92,000 whatever is the exact figure that they need. And I told them at this point that's what it was, based on the fact that it was an even division of the services. And I believe Fairfield has it, and I have not seen their agenda, I haven't looked at their agenda, I have it on their agenda tomorrow night to approve it at what the numbers were that I sent out to
Okay,
you.
all right. So there really is no requirement to have all three on board in agreement. I mean, we have no obligation as a municipality to have discussions with the other two so that we.
The only thing that I had said to the town managers was if you were having discussions about one of the two options that the Fairfield chief had come up with, I needed some type of indication back that all three of you are on the same page. Because we
Right.
can't cafeteria it from here and from here and from
Right.
here and come up with the
Understood.
right dollar on.
So it's not a contractual thing, it's just the numbers that were
Correct.
proposed initially. Okay, very good. All right.
So,
Yep.
the email says it was a joint effort by all agencies and supported by all. So I assume that Chief Bickmore is on board with this whole thing. I mean, I wish he was here.
Chief Bickmore actually asked us, he actually had an email from me last night making sure that one of us were going to be here at least tonight to discuss this because he was working from home this week. So,
Right.
And I assured him that there would be multiple people here to.
He reached out and asked if we'd be here.
Yeah, and I have
Seems like quite a road to get you guys here. But
What's that?
it seemed like quite a road to get you guys here, but we're glad you're here now.
Well, and to be quite honest with you, when we first started this, once we finally made the decision this is the route we wanted to go, and I believe it was that 1st of January meeting, that all of us in the room, right down to the IT director and my deputy director, the chief, everybody, stated right then and there, if we needed to go to other town's council meetings or selectmen's meeting, we would go to support them because everybody feels strongly about the project, and we were willing to go as a group and support wherever we needed to for a meeting. So, and Chief Buckman was coming to the meeting. So Scotty was coming to the meeting tonight. I had a message from him at 4:30 that something came up. So,
Council, any other questions?
So
Yes, Captain.
when you get the maintenance costs, if you could share those with the.
oh, absolutely. Just as soon as I have that maintenance schedule, Catherine, I'll send it out to all the towns so that they have it.
Use it for budgeting.
Yeah, because I believe it is the county's intent that they will probably send over an agreement just to, the county and the town of Pittsfield agree to this, and it includes the first year maintenance, and understand that maintenance after that will be billed by the county IT department once a year with what the contract says is going to be the cost of the maintenance. So,
All right. Anything else, Council? Very good.
thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your effort with that. So, we have the resolution on the floor. No further discussion? All right, very well. Since we're ready to vote, all those in, yes.
Actually, I need to resend it, because I opened the motion, the motion was to open for discussion,
Okay.
not to vote.
Yep, you're right.
So I'll resend the motion that I made to open discussion for resolution 2258.
Very well. We have the initial motion rescinded. Anyone wish to make a motion to accept resolution 2258?
I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 2258 with the amendment not to exceed $79,750.
I'll second that. Move to second. Thank you. Any questions or comments, Council?
So just to clarify, if there's an agreement, which is the first that I've heard of that, I'm authorized to sign the agreement because we'll run out of time by the end of the
Yes,
month.
of course. And that's with this approval.
Yes.
We will, and then we'll give these gentlemen the green light. Questions or comments?
Thank
Yes. All set? Very good. Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 22-58 with the amendment of not to exceed $79,750, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-58 as amended passes. So thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you. More than welcome to stay and see how we work here, but I'm sure you'll have things going on. Thank you all very much. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Hey, Bill. Yeah, how are you? Nice to meet you.
All right, very well. We will move back to number 3, presentations, congratulations, and introductions. Catherine, if you would, please.
Yes, very good. I will be very brief. We had some very good news with the issuance of our community development block grant. We have an amendment for the $250,000 for 1 year. I've been advised this will be the last amendment, and with the PPI, the new planning initiative, we heard that the project could be delayed by 2 to 3 years depending on what is proposed. So in talking to the Department of Economic and Community Development, they recommended we find another project in the downtown or around the downtown that we can spend the funds on. And of course, if we did, that does require Davis-Bacon Act, the higher wages, the contract with the CDBG language, so we can't go back and pick out some projects we've done in the general area, because normally we don't put those items in our regular contract. So we're thinking about alternatives here. It's thought by DECD, the Department of Economic and Community Development, that we should use these funds for something else, and then in the PPI roll in the sidewalk. But there'll be more discussions on this. For the rest of the grants, I'm in the process of discussing those with the funders. Some will need to be completed shortly. We've got to find out what we're going to do. A number are safe, and then some we're still working on this, because if we're going to extend this out 2 or 3 years, there's some deadlines that will come up. On the airport, we do have a few tentative solutions from the engineers who were instructed to come up with solutions on the funding gap that arose. So there'll be more discussion on Thursday and Friday on that. And further, if any of those proposals are acceptable to the federal government, there'll be an agenda item at the beginning of July. And there'll be some more information shortly regardless. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Catherine. So we'll move on to number 4, public hearings, ordinance 22-06. Catherine, if you will, please.
Yes, thank you. Ordinance 22-6, public hearing. The town of Pittsfield hereby ordains to accept all tax year payments of Euro J. Cormier, including interest and lien costs for the property at 140 Manson Street, map 25, lot 39, the town having acquired said property as a result of automatic foreclosure of a 2019 property tax lien recorded in the Somerset Registry of Deeds on July 21st, 2020 at book 5575, page 85, which matured on January 21st, 2022. The town council further authorized the town manager to execute a municipal quitclaim deed releasing the town's interest in said property to Euro J. Cormier.
All right, thank you, Catherine. Since this is a public hearing ordinance for this meeting, I will open up to anyone in the audience that wishes to speak for or against this ordinance 22-06. Is there anyone online that wishes to speak for or against ordinance 22-06? Very well, go to council. Any questions or comments, council, on ordinance 22-06? Very well, I will close the public hearing. Look for a motion,
Make
please.
a motion, we adopt ordinance 22-06.
Second.
Moving to second. Thank you, gentlemen. Final questions or comments, council? Very well, hearing none, I sense a ready to vote. All those in favor of ordinance 22-06, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Ordinance 22-06 passes. Catherine, if we move on to reports, please.
All right, very good. On the reports, I don't believe there's been any meetings of finance, ordinance, or recycling, correct? For planning board, we did have a very good meeting on June 13th. It went very well. All paperwork is now in order for the planning board meetings. There is a process and forms all installed back as we used to have. There were 2 applicants who were very pleased at how easy the process was. The KB Cog planner is able to review one of the findings of fact and provided some information. The other one was not new, so we didn't need to have that review take place. Both applications were solar projects, and they were continued either through a reapplication for the same exact project or a minor amendment, because they did have some minor changes, so that worked out good for them. When we do put the budget together for next year, the planning board has a budget request, which we can review at the council's August budget workshop. Thank you.
We're all really looking forward to it. All right, Catherine, would you want to move on to the town manager's report?
All right, very good. I'll be brief. The town manager's report has all the items listed out. And Eric Saucier wanted to talk about the problems at the pool with the cover that broke up and wasn't put on properly. And then the work, that extra work that had to be done, and the need for the new cover, which we do have the funding for.
So, a couple weeks ago, Pete came in and showed us pictures of probably 10 or 12 different properties around town that weren't being kept up to the standards of the town. And those are private properties that we're saying, that's not up to our standards. Well, this is an asset that's owned by the town. And it's not my agenda. This isn't my item, right? This is the town people seeing what's going on in the town pool and seeing that the town pool pretty much looks like a frog pond. And the cover's not on it. And there's people scuba diving to get the leaves, I don't think turtles in there, but frogs and tadpoles and all this other stuff. This is a $400 and something thousand asset that someone raised money for, and it's our asset. I just can't see where it would ever be okay to not have it taken care of. And this is not a stab at Public Works. This isn't it's not at all. To me, this is a management problem. I mean, if you have an asset that's worth over $500,000 and not to put the cover on it, I don't care if the cover is in 400 pieces. I mean, we need to know so we can budget for it and get a brand new one. Get a new cover. I mean, my pickup, if you have a $50,000 truck, because of new tires, and these tires, you don't park it. I mean, put the tires on it. I mean, that asset, if you don't take care of it, it's not going to take care of us. I mean, kids love that pool. I mean, I know there's all kinds of volunteers down there, town employees, citizens around here putting their time and money into this place to make it go. And it seems like there's more will to make it happen by those people than it is by the town. And I'm not saying Public Works. It's not about Ronnie. Not about Mike. I'm saying this is the town. You have to manage what we have. You have to be present. We have to go check to make sure things are happening. I mean, there's no excuse. No one can give me a reason tonight why it's okay for that pool to look like that right now. There is not a good reason. And I don't care how many I hear. Because if that was my pool, and I had spent $15,000 on it, I would have put a cover on it. Every single year. Because it's the right thing to do for the asset. I don't need to know any more details about how much the cover cost. I just don't understand how we have such a breakdown in management to get this done. It's really frustrating.
I will ask a question. Why wasn't it done? Does anybody know? Catherine, do we know why the pool was left to get to this?
I was told the cover was going to be put on. I never even thought to.
Well, when? I mean, it's been off for a while.
It never got put on all winter.
Never went on.
It wasn't on all winter long.
And the building wasn't winterized, and
Right.
things broke and cracked, and there was a lot of damage done. There's going
Right.
to be a lot of expense related to this failure.
Who was the rec director?
That's not the rec director, that's the pool director. And that was,
Who's he work for?
Gavin. He works for the town manager.
But he was the pool director.
Right.
He was getting paid to,
Yeah,
so who,
Right, but-
who was that?
So the pool director works for the rec director
That's
and
fine.
works with the Public Works to put the cover on, which has been put on every year. I didn't think that we would need to have a checklist for all these things, but we'll have one shortly.
Well, as Eric said, if you talk about this as the pool and it's dirty, okay, you look at it that way, but $500,000 asset, and it went, there were a lot of people and a lot of hard work to get that, and it's being treated like nothing. It's like any time I see anyone in the town vehicle smoking, that irritates. It irritates me because they know I'm not supposed to do it. This is an asset this town needs to take care of,
Right.
and and I don't want to rip on anybody, and I don't want to rag on anybody, but this is completely unacceptable. I'm not looking to hang anyone by a short branch, but I need to have well known that this cannot happen again. Period. Just period.
Is the pool director the same one this year as it was last year?
No.
No.
Not
So-
just the rec director.
I know for a fact, I mean, Mike's worked weekends on this place, trying to get that pool up.
Yeah, hold on, I'll call him, Mike.
Mike's worked weekends on this thing, trying to get it right. Citizens Town have worked weekends trying to, I mean, I guess my point is that people are trying to move the pencil, right? They're putting effort in to make it happen. We have to verify that shit like this is getting done, because if it's not getting done, I mean, that's huge.
Yep.
You know, that's not taking care of what everyone in the town pays for. And then we're going to go out and say, hey, you got a shingle that's out of place on your roof. You got to fix that. We're going to send you a letter.
Yep.
Well, what does that look like?
So it sounds like we do need a checklist.
We're gonna need a checklist.
You got to manage it. I mean, it's
Mike, you have the,
Yeah.
please. So before we get in the meeting, each for proper etiquette, I need you to identify yourself and where you're from.
Absolutely. My name is Mike Cavey. I work for the town of Pittsfield and been working for the town for over 30 years. Since 2007, when the pool came available, when they built the new pool, I was assigned to take care of the pool. It's dedication that I like. I really enjoy it. Every year, I have to go in, I have to take the pumps apart, we have to bleed the system, we have to get an air compressor, we blow out all the lines, we have to put caps in where the water goes into the filters, we have to put plugs in the drains where the holes are, where the water goes in through, and stuff like that. Like I said, I've been doing it for quite a while. Every year when we do take the cover off, the water is nasty. This year, it was a little bit more than the previous years. It takes probably 3 weeks or so to get this up and running. That's 180,000 gallons of water in that pool. It's not one of your pools at home. It's like 30,000 gallons that you can probably open up within a week. The cover has been fading for quite a while. I've taken it to Bangor, and we patched it. Last year, the cover didn't get put on. The reason why it didn't get put on was an overseer of our behalf. We got ready to do it. We had a water break. We went to the water break. That pool cover takes about 6 people to put that cover on. It's heavy. They have springs on them. They have little plugs that you have to screw out of the concrete so the springs get on there. When you get to the end of it, you have a big rod that you have to pull all the springs back. It is. It takes a long time. It's heavy. Like I said, it takes 6 guys to do it. I guess the reason why it didn't get put on last year is because, like I said, we had that water break, got to the end of it, and we just forgot about it, and it was an overseer on our behalf. The cover should be replaced. I took it up to the Pinnacle this afternoon, laid it all out, did a measurement for it. I gave Donnie the measurement, and I also took some pictures, and I gave Donnie, emailed Donnie the pictures of the cover. You take that cover and you just, where the seams are, you pull them apart.
Yeah.
That cover's been there since 2007. Like I said, I'm going to be 61 in August. You stop pulling that stuff, someone's going to hurt. You know, it's a big cover, and it takes a lot of people to pull that cover on.
Mike, you got a ballpark figure for a new cover on that?
I do not. I do not.
Can you wing it 15 grand?
I don't have it. There's a place in Bangor that I take it to the Bangor campus.
Yep, I know what that is.
I go to Bangor to take tires to Perk. I mean, I can, sometime when I go up there, I can take that measurement and give it to them and say, hey, we can take pictures of the cover, the way the straps are, the way the springs are, and say, hey, this is what we use. And actually, where the cover is bad, I can cut a piece out and I can take it right with me so they can look at that and see how it's made and what kind of material it is.
Yeah.
Supposedly, you should be able to walk across that cover when it's on the pool. That's what we
Well,
told.
not you or I, but someone else.
Well,
Ed might be able to.
I was hoping you would do it,
You
so
know,
I
I'll take
can,
one for the team.
and I'm not going in after you. I'm not CPR certified.
Thanks, Bobby.
But anyways, yeah, that's the reason why it wasn't anything that we did just noticing on our behalf.
Yeah, I don't like you taking heat though. I mean, I think so. This is where a team comes into play, right? A team. If there's 5 members on that team, everyone else has everyone else's back all the time. It's not one person's responsibility to remember to do a task.
Right.
It's the manager to make sure that everyone has each other else's back.
But you know,
we don't
Eric,
have that.
we can go forward.
I agree.
Okay.
We're going to go forward.
Absolutely.
We're not going to do this again.
Absolutely.
This team coming up
Next
with a
year,
plan, right?
when we close that pool up, we're gonna have a cover on that pool.
I will guarantee you're
Okay.
right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Let me move on here, Donnie. You want to?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I don't know if any of you have talked to Paul Bertrand, but we did, it was an oversight when we went down and decided to put that cover on in November. That thing was all going to be in the drain. It was going to disintegrate. We're trying to pull it. It does take 6 or 7 guys to do it. It takes a day or 2 days of the Public Works Department
Right.
to do that. So not sticking up for anybody. Like Mike has gone down. I've gone down. We've had Public Works guys. I've had my guys from the transfer station go down there. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is make sure that people that are accountable for what they're supposed to be doing. And if you talk to Paul and you looked at that bathhouse from that,
That's
stuff that happened. I don't know if it was a record,
I was just
whatever it was.
You're 100%
There
right.
was no need of that. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
There was I don't mind going down and donate my time, Eric. I don't mind. The Public Works guys don't mind going down, but when we have to go down and spend a week and a half, 2 weeks doing stuff that other people are getting paid for, it kind of, to me, it's we got a lot of things going on. We will help do anything, but again, that cover of that pool, if that ended up in that drain, you guys are looking at tens of thousands of dollars to have that thing sucked out by whoever it be, Vortex or somebody else. And we made that decision last year. It was late because of the water break. I did remember, and I went down to talk to Paul about it. We went to move that cover, and it was just disintegrating in our hands. And I said, "There's no way. It's slippery." The dude that was on the pool deck, somebody was going to end up either breaking the back, drowning, or it was going to cost the town a bunch of money. And just to reiterate what Mike's saying, that pool, if you've ever gone down there, in the springtime, no matter if the cover's on or not, that water has always been disgusting.
Right.
The only difference was this year is it did have a bunch of leaves in it, which makes it a pain in the neck.
Let me ask you a question. You had mentioned checklist. I mean, do you have a checklist that you guys use? Do you have one, Mike, that you use?
The only checklist that they have down here is for the lifeguards. They have to. No, we do not have a
Okay,
checklist.
so what I'm thinking, let's say you win the Powerball and you leave, although you'll stay because you like your work.
Absolutely. I'm dedicated to the
Yeah, I know that. I know that. Probably a good idea to start working on a list
Sure.
and keep the book here or wherever you want to keep it at the bathhouse locked up. Okay, here's what you do: open the pool in the spring, close it up in the fall. Here you go.
Yep.
I mean, if it takes a checklist, then so be it. I mean, the only reason that the last pool lasted as long as it did, and the way this pool's been working, because of people like you, people in the community that do that volunteer. You know, so thank you for doing that. I mean, there are no marching orders saying we have to do this and this and this. I'm just thinking going forward, let's make a checklist.
Absolutely.
And if there's any issues like that, hey, the top pooch, we can't use it for this fall. You know, let somebody know. I mean, I'm sure you probably did, and I'm probably talking out of the side of my face, so my apologies if I'm coming across misinformed from your seat in the house. But, you know, like, being the resident of the town and the people who pay money in this town, it's, you know, we're going to have to bite the bullet and get that cover, but, you know, we'll hear from other people, but, okay, so we don't buy the cover or we close the pool, which one do you want?
Right.
No, and I think
So I would recommend or ask that you work on some kind of list.
we had one. And I actually had one, and I took notes, and I'll have to look and see. I can't remember, somebody upstairs had it typed up, but when Josh was there, he had all the instructions on how to open and close a pool, because I went down and took meticulous notes in case me and Mike weren't around. If somebody else had to go down there for whatever reason, I'm in the hospital or he's retired, that somebody would know. And we really need that, because we need more than one or two. 4 would be good. But just so we know.
So, yeah, Brett, go ahead.
Just curious, Mike, did all the other stuff get done? Did the pumps all get properly drained, cap and all that?
Correct.
Everything was done except pool covers now?
Correct, that's the only thing that was misplaced was the pool
Now,
cover.
you shocked put a winterization shock in that pool, and button it up?
I go to Philbrooks, I take a sample of the water that's there at the end of the year. I take it out to Philbrooks, and they put it on their system, and they give me all the material that I have to put into the pool. And then once that gets in there, I let it run for a couple of days, and then I drain the pool to where it's supposed to, where I can get out my plugs to plug my things in, so we can
So
put it in
everything
the
was done
air.
except pool cover?
Correct, correct.
Thank you.
And the bathhouse.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's just a mess.
And no, and this doesn't, I'm telling you right now, this does not reflect on Public Works.
No.
And any part of it. The cover, the pool house,
No.
it's a town's failure. It really is.
It is, and
It's a full
and it's a
failure.
communication problem, and it was the same way. That pool closes in end of August, let's say end of August.
Right.
By the 1st of September, there's no reason that cover can't go on there, and that's one of the things that we found out. It wasn't too late, because I was assured that they would give us a date and time that they wanted that thing covered, and it's, like I said, people just went away, and then when Paul come out and says, have you got 10 minutes? I said, yeah, and he come down and he showed me that place, and he says, you're not to touch it. Do not touch this mess.
And-
I mean,
Yeah, but
pictures-
He did.
We donate the pool to.
I know, and that's, I know Paul's really good. And I said, well, we don't mind helping him, but he took pictures. He said, I don't want you to, because this is not your fault. And I don't think people should.
If you recall, how would you feel about the way that thing's represented right now?
Yeah, especially if it's got your name on it.
And he's
Right on,
the
no,
one that went down there to clean the bathhouse. Nice
So-
slap in the face to him.
So
really.
I want to mention to you, Catherine, since ultimately they all answer to you, this needs to be addressed.
Yes, well, as you know, the whole recreation department is.
No, I understand that. I understand the whole thing, but the council's gonna put it on you to make sure this gets addressed, because ultimately it's your responsibility. These people work for you.
Yes.
So however you wanna do it, if you wanna set have training with them, or whoever is responsible for that, we need to ensure that you get that done.
So we'll have checklists for the pool house, we'll have a checklist beyond what Michael has, which he's done very well with. And as you know, the whole recreation department's being reorganized, so there shouldn't be any other issues.
Yeah, hold on, Michael. Jason, please.
Well, just the pool director has never answered to the rec director. That's never been the case. If you ask the last pool director, he didn't answer to that. They never. The pool director answers to the town manager. The rec director answers to
The
the
pool
town
director
director.
has never answered
That's-
to the town manager.
Okay.
Well,
Well,
so
there's your problem too. Nobody knows who the hell they answer to.
They're not getting the proper direction, so Catherine, ultimately, that's something we need to work on, please.
So the pool director has always answered to the rec director, and
No.
sometimes they've been the same person.
Okay, we don't need to belabor this, but
Yeah,
Catherine,
okay.
you need to communicate that clearly, please, okay?
The whole recreation department will be reorganized.
Yep, that's.
I will,
Michael, go ahead.
I will get together with Catherine, and we will get that checklist going and stuff like that. And just the thing that I have to say is, what we should do is, when we drain that line, close it up for the season, we ought to put the cover on at the same time.
That's what we used to do.
Yeah. But we will take care of it.
I know that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
And one request, please, if we're gonna buy a cover, let's buy one that we can attach it to the fence, where it's got a roll system, so we don't have 6 guys that are manhandling it. We need a backhoe down there, and
That was my next question. Why does it have to be this hard? Like, you can't get some sort of roll-up cover that is on a spool that you hit a button?
that was my concern too.
Like, you got 6 guys out there for 2 days put on a cover.
When they,
Six guys are on payroll as compared to a system that probably costs $5,000 to $8,000.
But you're saying there's nothing better for them to do?
I'm not saying
No.
it's better, I'm telling you, when that decision was made, I'm willing to get my paycheck, that's the reason.
I mean, that cover is really nice and it's safe.
when they put that pool there,
If a kid
they
got in
came
there,
with that cover.
he's not going through the cover.
That's a safety cover, so
Yeah,
they
it's
make
super.
designed specially so you
Correct.
can't drown. So
Right.
I think I don't know that they make safety covers that you
They
can roll
put
up
on a rack,
because
exactly.
you have to literally attach it to screws on
Then
the
it's-
concrete, right?
Correct.
That's how come you can't drown in it. So
Correct.
We're probably gonna have to find a way to do that, but I would not opt out of the safety cover for the safety
No.
cover.
No,
They actually have them that are on rolls that are actually on.
They're safety covers?
Automatic, yeah. And
Yeah.
all it is that it helps roll it out, and you still got to attach it.
Oh, okay.
I haven't
But
seen
something
that
that's,
before,
like I said, if you get a whole new appreciation when we
try
start
something
we're
with
struggling with
fire.
that thing and we're trying not to put that cover over. That, as you can see, today Mike had to use a backhoe bucket because that's how heavy it is. 1, 2, 3 people can't manhandle that thing.
Well, I went there to get a little feeble little tug in that. I'm not gonna move that. That's where it was. I mean,
Not easily. And I don't
And
know
I
if
know
the
you
insurance
guys,
will
you
be-
guys are in the works putting it on because all those little knobs you're talking about are all up, all
Yeah.
around the whole entire pool. It was like 9 out of 10 steps were done. Just the final step. And that's why I'm telling you, it's not your fault. It's the town's failure. And you just gotta.
Yeah, and it's,
But I do want this pool to open up on the 27th. So my next question is what does the town have to do to make that happen? Like, is there something that we need to buy, or equipment we need to rent, or people need to hire? Like, what makes that happen?
what's
We made it
going on
happen.
with it, Mike? As far as most of the leaves are out, you said?
Most of the leaves are out. I took a sample over today
Yep.
to the Philbrooks, and everything, all the gauges, the amounts of where they're supposed to be, there. I just went down before I came here, put some more chlorinate in the chlorinators. I turned them right up on high to get the chlorinate.
So will it be ready the 27th?
We're hoping.
Okay. All right.
She was going to give me some burnout to put in there to try to get it back up, but they didn't have any. So that's going to put a thing on it. We can, the biggest thing is they have to keep on vacuuming and keep on backwashing to get all that stuff through the system to get it clear.
Nobody has burnout.
Yeah, no, that's right. So
Eric, anything else you wanted to
No, I'm good.
bring up on this? Anything else, gentlemen, briefly? You want to add? Thank you very much, Mike and Donnie, for showing
Thank
up
you,
for that.
guys. Thank you for your extra
Eric,
work.
thank you for bringing that up. I wasn't aware of it myself because I just don't go that side of town.
I live in West Pittsfield. It was my daycare provider brought
Well,
this
see, you
up.
just blew my excuse right out of the Thanks. I will swim. How's that?
You have kids that
No, but thank you for bringing it up, though.
So continuing with
Yes,
the
please.
town manager's report here, the Paul E. Berkman Community Pool will open on Monday, June 27th, and they have swim lessons set up, junior lifeguard course, a Monday through Thursday open swim, Friday open swim, Saturday open swim, and then the open swim fees are Pittsfield resident $10 per family for the summer, non-resident Pittsfield is $20 per summer for the family. And as I noted, Public Works has been assisting the Recreation Department with the pool. And the Recreation Director did hire a new pool director, which is the report that they have. The Kennebunk Valley Council of Governments General Assembly meeting is tomorrow, and so we'll be represented. I wanted to note on number 4, the street crosswalk paint. The state did get an order in, and we have called them to see if we can get some, but that may be extremely difficult. I assume that they're going to keep their paint, so we'll keep looking. I know Public Works makes calls every week looking for crosswalk paint. The BIL is a bipartisan infrastructure law, and we are very fortunate that the town will receive approximately $159,000. And at this time, we can't use that toward the hangar project and the deficit there. But if the grants were closed out and a new grant is issued, we could. But the engineers have come up with some other solutions to look at for the FAA, so we'll be working on that this week. I did put in a copy of the Maine Department of Transportation paperwork because there are a lot of projects here for Pittsfield. I mean, millions and millions of dollars of bridge projects everywhere, in addition to the $4.4 million for the Main Street project, which could be more with the other projects that we're doing. And I will just end with recruitment continues for the departments. It's all across the departments, and we've added some people on, and then some other people have left for some really lucrative positions here. We do have some good luck on the TRIO system. I can understand what the county's gone through. It's very confusing, and the information changes on exactly what's involved with the project. You have to really nail it down like the county did from when they began in August to when we found out about the project in mid-March to the end of May when we finally got the figures. The same thing goes on with the town. The assessing problem in which no mobile homes were added to the tax commitment and to the real estate in the web-based system has been fixed. So that should not be an issue. So we have meetings set up with Trio to go over all the issues that have gone on and doing the transfer over the summer so that we can now have maintenance on the system and be on the web-based and be updated. People were very happy with the radar speed feedback sign. And so the little solar-powered sign is here in the town office awaiting somebody to program it. So there is a state course that we have to take. And then on code violations, I've got that listed because there are a few code violations in town. And so we have sent several again to the town attorney and tried to resurrect some that are there. The Webb Road multiple violations, which was worse than anyone thought, was sent there. And hopefully we'll be able to get an administrative order to go in there. There are several others that have issues that are at the town attorneys, one of which the person called Lindsay, and that one is there with the town attorney trying to figure out how we can proceed forward with that. I had listed it to try to move it forward last year, the dangerous building, which it technically is not, now that they've done some fixing of it. Cleaned up all the trash, took out a massive bolster, so dumpster of all the materials that were out on the lot. The town told the people that own it that they could not rent the facilities out anymore. And so the town attorney is trying to figure out how we're going to serve these people because every place that the alternate code enforcer has gone to try to see them, they're not there. The real estate agent will not tell us where they're at because we called up. We talked to some neighbors and couldn't find out. They had talked to the past.
Is there agent-client privilege he's calling though? The real estate agent won't tell us?
The real estate agent will not return any phone calls.
Who's the real estate agent?
I have to look up what the sign is now. It wasn't one I recognized. I made multiple calls, and they did call back at one time and just said, this isn't information we can give out. Which wasn't very helpful.
So if the town was trying to do something to this property owner and enforce something, and you can't reach them, there must be a clause for that where you can take action as a municipality and do something if they're not. What if they were dead? What would we do then? Do you know what I mean? There has to be a way forward.
There are steps.
Yeah, we can't just accept, well, we can't reach them, so we're just going to let it go.
No, we keep on going. I think you get to the point where you could put a newspaper article in, and then you go to court.
Okay, so it sounds like we're there, right? I mean, how long has it been since this started?
Well, we've had to restart it because some of the letters had issues with them.
So how long since we restarted?
It's been restarted twice.
When's the last time it was restarted?
I would say 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd have to double check it.
I don't know what more we need to do, but we have a stack of code enforcement issues, and if we don't start taking a more aggressive approach, we're never going to get through them as a town. So we have to move, I think.
I think that would probably be another meeting to talk about because there's an awful lot, as what Peter said last meeting too. So we can discuss it at the end
Okay.
when we wrap up.
Sure.
I kind of like to get through this if we could.
So in any case, on the code items, I think what would be helpful for the code officer to do more in that area and be ready for when the alternate code officer comes is to have a master list in which all of the letters will be written down with the map and lot number and the stage that we're at on those. So that's what we're working on now.
Who's we? Who's working on that master list?
Well, actually, Heather Donahue had offered to help with that because she comes in the office.
So has a counselor been asked to help with that? Since
That
we were
was-
the ones put to
That
task?
was letters, and I did talk to the alternate code officer, and he was a little worried if anyone sent out letters, they might get summons to court. So that part won't be taking place. But yes, if a council wanted to come in, they could work on that too. It's going to take a while when you see the records.
Right. I'm just confused about how a townsperson that's not a councilman, that I don't understand how we got to here. Like the master list we were given last week. We haven't talked about
So
that.
what is
How to cut it on if you get involved in
Donna
working
Hughes'
on it.
function? What is she doing?
Oh, she comes in to help out for a few hours as
What
a volunteer.
Doing what? As it pertains to the CEO.
Clerical work in general.
This seems
Isn't
like
that what I offered last week?
It was.
But
And it says in the last week's thing that that we couldn't participate in those things because it needed to be done properly because there are millions of dollars worth of project.
I don't think that's the same thing. That's something else. So you wanted to put together letters to send out, and I did speak with the alternate code officer, and he said that should not happen because you would likely be summoned into court. Or
I said I would do anything to help the code officers in any way I could.
All right, you had mentioned letters, but if you can work on Excel spreadsheets, that would be good too. But we need some help with this.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mike. We should probably
Yep.
talk about this, but before we take action and start working with volunteer townspeople on a pretty hot button issue, maybe we ought to talk
Well,
about how we move
if
forward.
it's
as a town.
clerical,
It's just
just doing
clerical.
paperwork, filing, whatnot, I don't have any issues with that because we had a couple of town councils before that would do that.
Okay.
Yeah, but she's not town council.
We've had citizens.
What's that?
But that's a random citizen.
We've had
She's just doing
citizen
clerical work though.
committee members.
There's nothing that says a citizen can't. It doesn't have to be a council. But let's not belabor this. This is another topic, and I think this is something that we need to revisit. The CEO and these types of meetings that may require an executive session, maybe another resolution that we can spend time discussing it. Because there's a lot of information that is in process now, as Catherine mentioned, and there's a lot of process that has to be taken. So, if anything, that we follow up and make sure these steps get done, because years before it was kind of by the wayside. You know, the one thing I will mention on Leonard Street, I see that there's another dumpster being put up there, and more cars being taken out, and still no progress. We were talking about this back in 2016. But this is why we go on and on and on about this. So let's continue with the town manager report, please, Catherine. If there's anything we want to discuss at the end, we can bring it up as a
All
topic.
right, I'm all set on the town manager's report.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we're done reports. Old business, we have none. We will move on to new business. We have done resolution 22-58 already. Let's move on to resolution 22-59, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-59, resolved that the town council approve the list of additions and deletions to the 2022 paving program with Northeast Paving to not exceed the sum of blank to be added to the contract price previously approved at the May 17, 2022 council meeting for a total paving contract to not exceed blank and authorize the town manager to execute the contract.
I will call motion from council, please.
I make a motion, we open resolution 2259 for discussion.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen, very much. So, if you look at the package that was given, it's not clear as to what the not to exceed sum of and the total contract to not exceed. So, Catherine, if you could please give us a clarification of what we're looking for on that.
Yes, thank
Because we
you.
see the description starts at $941,500 and the bottom is $1,004,000. So please let us know what we're looking at on that.
All right, very good. You approved the sum of $941,500, and so people wanted to have certain roads added in. So we have worked with Northeast Paving in order to be able to add in the Mount Road and to add in 1 mile of the Powers Road. This would mean that the Berry Road would be taken out except for the beginning with the culvert. Crawford Road would be taken out except for the culverts on the two ends and the bad sections there. The Beans Corner Road, Donnie had indicated a small section could be deleted. And so, in keeping with the other roads which were already here and not mentioned, which are in the RFP, which I can go through and indicate, the company wants to have a number of roads in the center of town that they would put the surface on, and then they will leave and come back to do the binder later on. So, the Crosby Street, North Lansky Street, Nichols Street, Waverly Avenue, that little section, Chinquette Street, and these are sections, which all remain, and then the Webb Road remains. As I said, the Berry Road would be taken out except for the first culvert. Beans Corner Road, almost all would remain except for a small section that Donnie recommended be taken out. The Spring Road remains. The Crawford Road is taken out except for the two ends. And with all of this, we are able to add 1 mile of Powers Road, which had been recommended by Stanley of S&G, and he was correct, and the Mount Road. And that would make $4,535.10. We have $1 million, so just round it off and cut out 45 tons, basically, someplace, which will happen.
Okay, so what's the amount to be added to the original contract? Is
The
it
amount-
simple 1 million less than 941.5?
Yeah, the amount to be added
Okay, so
would be
58.5.
Yeah, 58,500, and that will make the $1 million. And then you have a listing of all the roads that would be included.
How can we just round down to $1 million? Am I missing something? Like, so it's not $1,004,535?
Yeah, we'll just make it $1 million. The pavement always comes in a little
We
bit.
can save, we can save
Oh,
some,
so you're saying it's
I
worth
can save some tonnage because there'll be somebody there taking tickets and watching what they're doing.
Save some off.
So,
Alright.
it's just like how they can, some companies can take 300 tons somewhere else with somebody not being.
It's like a $4,500 pat on the back for us.
Right, so, let's,
feel better about it already?
and it keeps
Thanks,
us,
Mr. Shoe.
and it keeps it, we got $1 million
That'll
to
pay for the new pool cover right there.
the roads.
Hey, you're always thinking. You're Jones's policy, aren't you?
So I just want to make sure this does cover the end of the Crawford Road. Like
Yes.
when you pull out of the Crawford Road, whether it's greater than
That's it's to the,
Besides
on this
Mountain.
end, Somerset end, it's to the bridge.
Okay, good.
And then, if you go to the other end, down by where Joe Staples is,
Yep.
there's the tattoo place, there's a culvert there.
Yep.
From there to
Okay.
the west.
I'll tell you, this list is representative of all the good, the bad, and the ugly on the roads in this town. I think we're going to see a huge difference with this.
And I'll tell you what else.
And I'm
there's
glad
still
they
more.
looked at the Beans Corner too. That's, I mean, we won that one, but
Yeah, I mean, we still got some other ones that are bad,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what, some of the people that, when we were out measuring with Northeast Paving, and I was out there quarrying, people are so excited that they weren't even forgot about how damn the country, so, yeah.
all right. So we have a active motion on the floor. Yes, sir.
So, on page 73, what's the 241,000? Because you added the Pool Road in there, I don't see that.
No, the pool road's been cut
No
out.
pool road.
That was just to get a price on it.
Oh, okay.
See what it would cost.
Okay.
And it was a lot of money.
Cooler Powers, and Powers was worse.
Yeah, let's move on here. So we have a motion on the floor to open for discussion. Now that we have an idea what the numbers are, if we want to rescind that motion and make a re-motion with the numbers included, Deputy Mayor, if you would.
I will rescind the motion to open for discussion 2259. Do we have a second?
Second? Sure.
And then I will make a motion that we pass resolution 2259 with a sum of $58,500 to be added to the contract and not to exceed $1 million.
Second, sir.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Now we get into the nitty-gritty discussions. If there are any questions or comments about this, about these numbers.
It's a really good paving list.
Yep, it is. Anything, council? Very well, hearing none, I sense ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 2259 as amended, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-59 passes as amended. Catherine, let's move on to resolution 2260, please.
Resolution 22-60, resolved that the town council set the rate of interest to be charged on delinquent taxes for 2022 at 4% and the due date for payment of taxes at the end of the business day on Friday, October 14, 2022.
I'll look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 2260.
Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions or comments, council? Catherine, can you provide a little clarification on that, please?
Yes, the interest rate used to be very high, but now with the interest rates being so low, the maximum we can set is 4% on delinquent taxes.
I got a question on that.
Yes.
That's a 4% annually, right?
That would be correct. Then we divide it up by the number of days it's late.
Yeah. How come, I'm just thinking out loud here, you take your credit card bill, you're gonna get billed monthly. Why wouldn't people that ain't paying the property tax, we start hitting 4% monthly?
It's a state law in which years ago when we started it was 12%, I believe, or 14%. But the interest rate has gone down each of the years, so they set an annual rate, and then we have a figure that you divide up by 365 times the number of days they're overdue, and that's what the interest is.
These taxes are yearly, though.
Correct.
I don't know, but if you don't pay the tax, so if I was a businessman and I can put my money in the stock market and get 20%, I'd be better off not paying my taxes for 3 years till it's time for me to pay back my lien and all that.
Well, people actually do that, but not to the extent of 3 years. They will come in later if they have CDs that are expiring.
But if everybody did that, we wouldn't get no money.
Well, we're limited, as you said, by what the
Correct.
state allows us.
It's a state law.
It's a messy system.
It's been working kind of so far.
There are a few people that do that, but most people
I qualify.
don't.
That's all I got. Anything else, council? Very well. Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. So all those in favor of resolution 22-60, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-60 passes.
Resolution 22-61, resolved that the town council set the rate of interest for overpayments for 2022 at 0% to conform with 36 MRSA Section 506-A.
I'll look for a motion from council, please.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 22-61.
Move to second. Thank you, gentlemen. Any clarification that you'd like to provide on that, Catherine?
We're required to use the formula of whatever the interest rate is minus 4, so it has to be 0%, which is actually good because if we have an overpayment, we really don't want to pay any money back.
Any questions, council? Very well. Hearing none, since we're to vote, all those in favor of resolution 22-61, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-61. Let's move on to the last resolution, 22-62, please, Catherine.
Resolution 22-62, resolved that the town council authorize the tax collector treasurer to accept prepayment or decline prepayment of taxes not yet committed or received prior to the due date and pay no interest thereon in accordance with 36 NRSA Section 506.
I'll look for a motion from the council,
Make
please.
a motion to adopt resolution 22-62.
Second. Moved and seconded. Thank you, gentlemen. Any questions, comments, clarification you'd like to provide, if any needed? Catherine?
No, this is fine and a regular state law.
Questions, comments, council? Very well, thank you. Sensing none, since we're ready to vote, resolution, all those in favor of resolution 22-62, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 22-62 passes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to number 8, discussion items. There are none. So let's move on to number 9, reports. We will start with the audience. Anyone in the audience wishes to speak? If you do, please stand, state your name, where you're from.
Guess that would be me.
There you go.
I'm Nancy Groh. I live at 144 Washington Street, and I'm here to talk about 153 Washington Street, which is a house that has quite a history. 2 houses, actually. Sometime last year, it was deemed that it was dangerous. It had gone to the lawyer's hands. I called Catherine Thursday, spoke with her Friday to get an update on what was going on with the house. And she proceeded to tell me that it's no longer deemed dangerous because they covered the cellar windows with plywood. And that would stop children from crawling in there. That wasn't my problem to begin with. My problem is where there are no cellar windows, there's also no foundation above it. As far as I'm concerned, if the foundation is compromised, the house could collapse. Maybe I'm wrong. But I'd like to see something that the council has from an engineer that states this house is stable. It's not stable. The walls are curved. So I don't understand how this happened. The house is not safe. It could collapse as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of the people on Washington Street. And I thought that the council had thought the same thing because they deemed it dangerous. And then Catherine also mentioned on Friday that the owners, which she's saying she can't get in touch with, had a plan to remodel that into a garage. Do we have a building permit? Did we tell them, okay, you have 2 months to make this transition. You have 2 months to get this house safe. And that's what I want you guys to work on. And I'm not saying the town probably doesn't have enough money to take them to court. I understand that. But we need to prepare ourselves for the future, as Lindsay said. We've got to put some money aside to take these people to court because they're not going to hold themselves accountable. There's 4 empty houses on Washington Street. They're all investment properties. They're investment properties. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Nancy.
Sure.
Michael, Donnie, anything you'd like to bring up?
I just wanted to bring up, well, I guess I got a question for Catherine and the council. We got numerous complaints about the green place that's over on Peltoma Avenue. Myself and the code enforcement, there's supposedly Janet Cochran across the road, and Ivy Dalio said there's rats running around. I've been there 4 times doing an investigation on that house, and there's no rat feces urine. I don't know where the rat's coming from, but we're still in the process of trying to figure out what's going on. One of the problems we have is we can't get a hold of anybody that wants anything to do with that house. So
What house is this, Donnie?
that's one on Peltoma, the one right past used to be Cal. Right past
That's
the green one. The green one used to be Ramsdale. Used to
Soon
live.
north.
Hold on, is it on section of another street?
It's on. No, it's on Peltoma. It's the last one on the left before you get to
Chimbros.
to Chimbros. Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't
Oh,
that?
okay, yeah.
Oh, that's
But
me
one,
now.
yeah. So one of the issues that I want to just make you aware of, if somebody doesn't own that Catherine Dew, we can't get a hold of somebody. I've done this in Palmyra, that's why I'm saying it as the fire chief and EMA director, and work with our code enforcement. Once we deem it dangerous and we can't find the property owners, we own it. So now you're looking at cost of demolition, you're looking at cost of removing these places that are done. I'm just wondering, is that true? Has that become our burden?
Where's the last tax bill going to?
No, it wouldn't become our property until the tax is foreclosed. You can get an order to go into places, but it's very difficult to do that. You have to serve the people, and the town would have to be willing to pay the money.
Are you aware of the update taxes on that?
The taxes are totally up to date.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So we know the current owner. We
All
can
right.
contact current owner, and can we, is that on the list of the CEO?
It's on the list now. The tenants moved out. We called the current owner. It's a LLC from out of state in an office where there's multiple LLCs, which have gone to court with the state of New York and been censored for having dilapidated houses. The number doesn't go through. The mail comes back. So we're doing research on it to try to find them.
Okay. Anything else, Don?
Well, no, and one of the issues I think that's going on, I had, and I mentioned to Catherine, we took our boom mower down, they had Dean just do the lawn because the lawn is growing up. And I think a lot of the issue is I'm not seeing rats, and I don't know it's because nothing's being done with the property and everybody's just assuming because there's piles of stuff all around the place, and it's all plastic and metal, It's nothing, there's no food.
It's been that way for a number of years. So
Is that
any food
permissible
has-
by our code and standards as a
No,
town?
but my question is could I take the loader down there, have the guys with the loader go down there and take a bucket that's just down the road from the transfer station for a few of these properties on the side of the road? Because I think a lot of it is appearance.
Well, if it's not acceptable by the town standard to have all that debris and everything in the yard, what would be the normal path to a solution, Catherine?
It's the letters and then head to court if they won't clean it out. Half of the people, or 60%, will clean it out, but unfortunately, it comes back at some of these facilities, and some of these are repeats.
So,
And although I can appreciate Donnie wanting to do that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a good thing to do, but at the same time, then you're opening yourself up to,
Well, I'm just saying for that
the
scenario.
public works destroyed my property, or.
no, right, the liability.
Yeah,
we
it's
need
not
to
something
go
we
through the
can
process of
practically do.
CEO.
That's right.
So I want to follow up. You all set?
Yeah, I'm all set. I just wanted
Okay.
to know if we were going to by default own this thing and then have to. I don't want to.
Is that on the active list of the CEO to pursue?
It's been added, yes.
Okay. All right.
Today the calls came in from the neighbors that thought there were rats there, and we went out numerous times and couldn't find anything.
Well, you've done your diligence. Let's get it in the process. Let's follow through with that. And I want to make sure that we address the house on Washington Street,
Yes.
because we haven't talked about. So what I'd like to ask you is to define what makes a dangerous house or not. And just before she answers that, I just want to let you know, since it's not deemed technically a dangerous house, I don't know what the definition is. It doesn't mean it's not on our list. It's been on our radar. We've talked about it ad nauseum the last meeting, several meetings. We have talked about it. So if you don't see action, it doesn't mean we're not trying to address it in some way. But the process is, if people who own it have it like that, they're not going to be responsible in the first place. And as Catherine mentioned, the main CEO in the state of Maine, if they send out 10 letters, they get 8 back. It's probably not a surprise. So we're trying, and it's been something that we've talked about. I've been talking about
I was
since
just
2008.
extremely surprised that a house went from deemed dangerous, no repairs, technically. I mean, the plywood's just leaning up against the foundation to cover up the cellar.
And that may require some follow-up, because if you lean up plywood, if there are children in the neighborhood, put drywall screws up. I don't know the definition. I mean, do we know the definition, or were we just told it was not dangerous anymore?
I may have started this because I wanted to get that taken care of. I happened to be out doing the paving plan and saw all these open windows and thought some child could fall in there, or an animal could, because there were no screens. I mean, there was an open area like this. Somebody could get in there and get hurt, and then likely there's no sump pump, so there could be water there. So I talked to the code officer at the time and said, look, can we send out some letters and say, this is a dangerous building? Well, we did, but when the repairs took place, the alternate CEO and new CEO have gone out and they said it is not a dangerous building. And then we talked to the town attorney who says it isn't, but it's a drastic code violation. I mean, it needs no codes. So the individuals that own it, the one time that the code officer was able to talk to them, indicated, because he offered the dumpster, which was a little irritating, but let's do it. If he'll get it cleaned out, we'll just do it. And they did ultimately come in with a dumpster and clean up a lot, so that was good, and kick out the tenants and everything that were causing trouble. So at that point, they went over and looked at it and said it's no longer a dangerous building. And so this is where we're at. It's a code violation, and the people wanted to fill in the bottom part of this 2-story building and put a garage up on top, which was ridiculous.
Okay,
So they have had contact with them.
Yes.
One contact.
That's what it
They're
sounds
not
like.
missing.
Yeah.
So let's take the term dangerous out of it. There's still code violations there, and it has been for some time. And I know, I think the first time you and I talked about it, you brought to my attention that there was some police action that had to be taken there, because there are no people in there now.
No.
Correct? We're gaining.
Well, we're gaining, but now
I don't mean to make light of it, but
No.
it's important for you
there's
to
a
know
broken window.
that this council is very aware of that, and but there's a process we have to follow, and
I
the
understand that.
government moves at the pace of a snail, and the snail usually passes.
The town
I do
attorney,
understand that.
yeah, the town attorney is aware that that's a top concern. They've got,
And if you guys have contact with him, you might want to tell them that there is now a window broken at the house in behind.
okay,
This house has been known to store stolen property, the white one and the blue one, and now someone's breaking into the blue one. So, what are you going to do? You're leaving these houses empty for anybody and their brother to go on in, wreck the place.
All right.
all right, I'll let the police know that they can, you know,
I
walk
let them
the house
know.
in and check,
All right.
and
Thank
talk
you.
to the code officer.
Michael, anything you wanted to?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, very good. Let's go to the council. Start Deputy Mayor Lodge.
I have no report.
All right, Council Frost.
A couple things. We didn't go over what the reports from each of the departments here, because I see there was no report from the building codes or the cemetery.
There was not.
Right, so what are we doing about that?
They were both told they need to submit a report. They missed the due date.
So they knew they were supposed to do this, so do they get disciplinary action since they didn't do it this time?
I believe one will get a write-up and the other one, we have another meeting on, so we'll talk about that too.
And my other comment on that is the rec committee needs to be spoken to because they have no plan for July. What's their future plan? They just come on with what they got done, but they didn't know what they're working on for July. So if you're going to make everybody do these forms and they're not totally doing it, there need to be a consequence. So I think that the rec committee should be getting this one too. There's no action for July.
Well, the rec committee
think
is a
there's a
volunteer
lot-
committee, huh?
It seems like there's a
There's
disconnect
record.
here.
Right,
Mayor.
director.
Yeah, rec director.
Hold on.
There's the rec director, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
So he has no plan for July? Are we shutting down the rec committee in July?
I can,
No, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Brent, you all set?
I got some others to go, but.
Okay, yeah, sure, go right
If you
ahead.
want to speak on that one.
Yeah, well, do you want to open up for discussion there? Lindsay, do you want to?
I just, as a very active, spend many, many hours a week volunteering for the rec committee, I could provide an update, but I think the spirit of this departmental update for every council meeting is not to institute disciplinary action, but rather to make sure the council is apprised of what's happening. So I think that's a good point, that we are supposed to be given some sort of update by every department,
Right, this comes back to accountability, just like the pool cover.
right?
So accountability
Yeah, so I
follows
can,
all the trail.
yeah, absolutely. So I would say that the whole point, and we have yet to talk about how we intend to receive that information. I had sent something a month or so ago to Mike. It's like we're kind of receiving information in a big giant, bucket, and it's hard to discern what exactly we're hearing about and what department needs what. And so when information comes at you like that, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. So part of the spirit of what we had originally talked about in these departmental updates was, are the department heads meeting with Catherine and therefore submitting a report, and that's dual signature. Catherine signs off that yes, this is what has been happening, and the department head says, yeah, this is what I'd like the council to hear about. Every department should report out that way, but every one of them should have a co-signature, and that should be the town manager, who's responsible for having the departmental meeting and ensuring the information is valid, up to date, and delivered. You don't want somebody giving us a story that's not accurate at all, and Catherine to be approving that blindly, right? It has to be a report, and so
It has to
I
go
don't.
through a manager process instead of just a phone.
Right, it can't just be like, here, I'm going to tell the council all this stuff. Well, it has to go through Catherine because she has to filter it through her managerial lens, right, on some level. But they should both sign off that this is what they want the council to hear, and I don't think the spirit of that should be disciplinary in nature, although I think there should be accountability. So, but I don't think that disciplining a rec director or anyone is the spirit of what we're talking about. I think it's more making sure we have the information we need in the way that we need it to be able to make educated decisions about what's happening with the town. So that was my, 2 cents on that. And I can give a rec update if anyone wants to know, because there's a lot going on.
We'll continue on there. Brent, you want to continue?
Yeah, because with accountability, there has to be something. If you don't hold people accountable.
I agree with you both. I mean, it's the first time going with this, and some you swing a hammer, some you just, I don't know.
All right, a couple other things. If you look at this is my perspective as a council member. You think we meet all the time here as a council, but generically, all we do here is have stuff presented to us, and we just look it over, ask questions, and approve yay, nay, whatever. So all we are is reactive. We don't really do nothing proactive. Planning ahead to brainstorm how to improve or come up with ideas to improve the town. So it seems like we spend 90% of our time always reactive, just to what's presented and ask questions and go. And I'll come back to that. Because here's a couple of things that I brought up before that I think we are proactive, which I've mentioned before, and it goes along with code enforcement. You take, a lot of people have trash around their house or whatever, and I've seen in other towns, they'll have a once a month in the summertime, one weekend a month, you have a free trash pickup side the road. Because there are a lot of people that don't have trucks or elderly people don't have means of hauling that crap off. But if you had say, second week in July, there's going to be free pickup. We'll pick it up. At the same time, that's a double-edged sword. You take and go around to these places that are out of violation 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time, and you address a letter right to them and say, this day is trash pickup. That stuff you have is out of code. Get it out by the road and it'll be free pickup. If not, there'll be consequences.
One jail free card in a way.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of proactive. The other thing is one that if I had the financial backing or whatever, we talk about housing and stuff in this town or whatever. But you take elderly housing, there's some out here, but there's still a need for elderly housing around here. So if there's financial backing, I would take, and we already saw the one place in town here by Manson Park needs to be torn down or rebought out. We ought to look at, is it possible a town could get a grant and become a management of a property, and it's take that property right there, right by Manson Park here, buy that land, building, demolish it, and build that elderly housing right there, and have the town as a property management. And it'll take some grants and money, but then you'll get some revenue keep coming in all the time. So it's just a brainstorm idea. The other thing I have is I spoke to a gentleman, which he's building houses in this town, and he's trying to make a development, but he's very discouraged because he's finally realized that if he came out, he stressed it to him, it's costing $53,000 per house to have the water and sewer and the road built to code. He says he cannot keep doing that. So he's going to be approaching us to come up with there's some alternate way he can get around that or share some of the expense with the town or whatever, because he doesn't know, he's coming to an end what he thinks he can do. And so my other thing is the town, which I brought up before, the town owns several land, properties, or whatever the town owns, which one doesn't generate any tax revenue for us. So I'd like to see us have a list of all the town-owned property and have us go through that list and really evaluate, does the town need to keep that, or should we sell it off, get the revenue, and then you keep getting the property tax from it too. And you'd be a little further.
Generate that for the next meeting, Catherine?
We can, and we have gone through and sold off the properties that we could. A lot of what we have is required by urban renewal grants that we got for the lagoon system and the airport.
Yeah, so we could get a list and, any encumbrances or responsibilities or requirements for the town having the properties.
Yeah, those can be listed.
Thank you.
And the other thing I had was some of the reason if you speak to some developers, they don't like to come to business in town and build houses in this town because the cost is higher due to, we do have all these codes that they have to follow just due to we're over the 4,000 mark threshold of population. But yeah, you can step over the town line in Vernon, Detroit, or Palmyra, and you don't have to follow all that code. So it lowers their cost of investment. So my other thing would be, I know it's a double standard, but we ought to almost look at town census, are we still over the 4,000 mark? And do we still want to maintain those high standard codes? I'm not saying abolish all the code enforcements and stuff, but I'm saying some of the codes that cost people a lot. Because, let's face it, if you were an investor, you wouldn't want to invest your money where it costs a lot more to build. Okay? And the other thing which we've already touched on is we ought to have a list, which we've been discussing, a list of all the places that are code violations. And some of them are just very minute. Like I have a residence near me there that mows his lawns about twice a year, which makes my place a little dilapidated, my value. So some of them need to be addressed even most minor. That's all I have. That was my soapbox.
Well, that'll put you through to probably October, won't it?
Okay.
You're all set, Brent?
Yeah.
Okay, Councilor Holmstrom, please.
I share a lot of the sentiment that Brent has. I think we need a vision, and I think we need to talk about not only the way that we receive information as a council, like actually discuss it and make a decision about, maybe it can go on the next meeting or whatever. I don't think it has to be an executive session for sure, because I think it's just how do we want to be reported out to, and then we all agree on that, and then what is the plan with that information? If we miss a departmental meeting, whatever, what's the process, and then what's the accountability line? And I think we need to talk about, I still have this packet and I kept it right on my dining room table so I can look at it and be reminded of the talk we got 2 weeks ago. And I have a new packet that someone else made for me with a whole bunch of other stuff that we can talk about at a future date, but just things around town that are not looking so hot, and what do we want to look like in 5 years? And I think we have to start putting some feet on the ground and some teeth into a plan, and so we should probably start by making that plan, and it should probably involve current counselors. So I think I would ask that maybe we have some sort of subcommittee created to talk about the vision that's not just Main Street, but really just how are we going to tackle this in a strategic way. That would be my ask for tonight, I guess.
All set?
Yep.
All right, thank you. Councilor Jester.
I guess I had a couple of things that kind of came to mind at the tail end of a couple of our discussions tonight. One, I know we're kind of beating a dead horse, I guess, because we voted on the participation in the communication center, but it seemed to me like there was a lot of planning and a lot of communication that came to our town long before it was ever presented to us. And I don't understand why we were put in a position where 7 days or 6 days prior to needing to make a determination did we finally get somebody in front of us that could give us that information. So that's a concern. That can't be tolerated again when we're making large financial decisions for our town. 6-7 days is not acceptable. Or night of is not acceptable. That's just not how we should be doing business. That's one. Two is, I guess I was pretty disturbed to find out that a volunteer citizen is working on somewhat sensitive information. I would find somebody calling out a code violation on my property sensitive and would not want that in just anyone's hands. I don't think I would agree with that decision. Definitely would want to call attention to that and have that discussed about how we utilize our resources. Volunteers are a great thing. I welcome that. I'm thankful for it. We're very grateful for those people. But how we use them is definitely something that needs to be looked at, because I would not want mine or my friends or my neighbors' information just in anyone's hands. Other than that, I appreciate everybody from the communication center and what have you, the Sheriff Lancaster coming in and joining us for the evening. I appreciate that. But that's it for my 2 cents for the week.
Catherine, do you want to respond very briefly to that? Thank you.
Yes, we did receive the information that we had requested on the consolidated dispatch on May 23rd and June 6th. The June 6th information came from Fairfield that had it, and so that information meant that we now had the correct figures and knew what we were doing. And of course, if the police chief had been able to serve, we would have had it sooner. But Marty and I tried to cover for this.
Sure.
We got a variety of different pieces of information. The meetings that were called were always like in the morning. They were very confusing. And so because we asked so many questions, we were able to get more correct information. Received it on May 23rd and June 6th. And now all three towns are voting. We were the first one. Then next week, Skowhegan and Fairfield vote.
Sure. No, I understand that. My understanding is that the inception of this was potentially much earlier than that, though, and that we had opportunity for information months earlier.
And you did receive that information. It just unfortunately wasn't correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It was confusing too. And in reference to the code enforcement, that was something that I thought of today. Nobody has worked on the code enforcement except for myself in a secretarial role to try to organize this. We have volunteers in the office all the time. Several counselors have come in over the years and volunteered. Citizens have come in, committee members. Jason can come in. We do need help, definitely. Sure. There's plenty to do.
So to follow up with what Councilor Jessup mentioned, I mean, there's obviously potential for some sensitive, personal, private information.
It's not confidential, unfortunately. Code violations are not confidential.
And I'm not actually addressing a confidentiality issue. I'm questioning what other tasks could be given to that person that would allow an employee of the town that is entrusted with that information to be the one to view that, not just a general member of the public, which I think is different, right? Because part of their job and part of the understanding and the agreement of their employment is that they do not discuss
Correct.
their employment information outside of here. You do not have that same type of agreement with Joe homeowner that comes in and decides to give you 2 hours a month. So that's my concern. There are other tasks that can be assigned to that individual that would not be of any sensitive or potentially embarrassing nature, and you allow that your staff to work on the stuff that it is actually, in that realm. That's all I'm asking.
Let me ask one question to clarify. If any citizen in this town came in and asked for the information to which this volunteer is subject to, would there be any issue with that?
So if somebody works on the code enforcement, unfortunately, it's all public.
No, I just want you to answer my question. The documentation that this person is being exposed to, can any private citizen, a member of this town, go and look at the exact same stuff?
It's all non-confidential, so yes.
So any person in town, what this person is being exposed to, is available to anybody for no reason. They just say, I want to see this?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, any volunteer has never worked on confidential information.
Okay. All right, anything else?
No.
Councilor Saucier, please.
I just want to thank Mike and Donnie and the town of Pittsfield, everyone that helped with the pool, all the volunteers, citizens, kids, mothers, dads, aunts and uncles, everyone that worked on getting this pool going. And I would just offer some support that says if there's anything that we made a commitment. June 27th today, right? It's not, hope's not a strategy to make that happen. So if that's going to be the day we go, as people are planning on, if there's anything that we need to buy or do to help make it happen, just speak up, say something to anyone here. Because I think when you say something like that, and that's a day, to miss that date's a big deal. You know what I mean? And to make it worse, I think we've already spent a lot more money getting it ready this year than we normally would, just people down there. If you count all the volunteer hours, it would look even worse. But I guess money aside, when we make a commitment, we're just going to meet it. So if there's anything we've got to do to help, just let me know. Or let anyone here know.
So I did make several recommendations to the rec director. So he's going to talk to Donnie and Michael about those.
And then one of us, we need to make sure that we have a real tentative date for opening, because I got 4 that at first it was going to be 2 weeks ago. I said, well, we need to know to start adding chemicals, because it takes 3 weeks. about 3 weeks, and the chemicals will do their job.
Okay.
So, just maybe have a better line of communication. Because I know that he didn't even think that Mike was there. Mike had already been down there 2 or 3 days. Doing
Well,
stuff,
we've
right?
identified some significant gaps in there.
So-
And not only with the information that you and Mike work with and sharing that with potential other future people, but up to the management of it.
We're gonna have a long checklist.
Oh, I think being present manager is important. Like, you got to know what's going on and verify it got done. I mean, I think that's what a supervisor is. So, other than that, that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Council Hall?
Yeah, can we have a discussion item on the next meeting for, like a meeting with the computer company, like Trio, or you said we've been having issues getting that updated and
We actually have
And
a
kind of
meeting
curious.
scheduled to resolve all of the issues. They resolved the assessing item, which the assessors had told us not to go over to the web-based version, which we were proceeding toward, and sort of was stuck in the old system that has the issues. And so that meeting, they say they fixed that, and then we have a meeting scheduled next Wednesday on Zoom to talk about all the items that are going on in the switch now. Because the assessing company had requested we not move to the web-based because no trailers could be put into the system, so they wouldn't be part of the tax commitment. There's over 200 trailers there, must be close to 300, so that would be a nightmare, illegal assessment, all kinds of problems. So they talked to each of their towns and told them not to move forward into the web base and stay where they were. However, Trio states that they have straightened that out. And so we're going to meet with them and go over that. We want to make sure, one, that it's correct, and then to go over all the issues that we're having and have them resolved with a plan and a date in which we can switch over. Summer is good to switch over. If we had to wait till after the tax commitment, we would be into the budget season, and that would be horrible.
okay.
Yep, so I think that that's finally going to work out. It's
Okay.
taken a while with Trio.
All right, and then should we be seeing the town audit soon? Isn't that like 6 months after the?
Yep, the audit is due on June 30th, and they are working on it. It's supposed to have the draft shortly.
It's not gonna be November like it was last
No,
year.
they promised we would not have that issue.
Okay,
The audit companies were all behind like 5 to 6 months
right,
everywhere.
and they don't have that issue.
They don't, because everything was rushed and the schedules were moved up, and we told them specifically at the meeting that we couldn't do that anymore.
Okay, so we should see that within
Yes.
a month or so.
Yep, we'll see that.
Excellent. And then one last thing, gotten a few complaints or comments from citizens upstairs, just kind of really being unorganized and papers and boxes and information kind of just everywhere. I know you have plenty on your plate, and the girls upstairs have plenty on their plate. But Wednesdays with no public being in there, if maybe we can put together a schedule of what you're going to tackle this Wednesday, next Wednesday, pick a box every Wednesday and get it cleaned up, get it where it needs to be, get it filed away, whatever it might be. Just kind of organize the place a little better so it's not such an eyesore when people come in for meetings or whatever, to pay their bills or whatever it might be.
The boxes are all stored
Okay, well, it's
in the locations where we can put them.
all right. Store with that then.
Yeah, that's the issue. We need to do the digitization project, which I know it's expensive and gets cut each time, but we actually have to tackle that maybe in a several year phased project.
All right, that's it.
All right.
But no, I do understand that the boxes are disturbing,
Yeah, well, never mind.
but it's a lot of money.
I got one more to add.
Right.
I'm going back to my brainstorming, trying to move us ahead in this town. It goes back to like the elderly housing. What is our economic development group doing? What are they working on?
That was the note I was gonna mention.
Yeah, I had that, I just missed it, but.
Is that Pete?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They should be looking at things like that. Like when what are they working on?
Yeah.
Can we put that on next agenda?
Yeah, we can actually
present to us.
So let me wrap up my comments because that's part of it. So first, I want to thank Nancy. Thank you very much for coming. Michael and Donnie, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate that very much. Eric, thank you for bringing up the pool because I honestly never go by there. I don't think I've been down by the pool for years, literally. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and I hope you gentlemen realize that, as he said, and we also, we're not digging on you. Frustration to see something like that. I mean, a $500,000 asset. It's one of the jewels of this town. I've always called it Pittsfield. The park is a jewel of this town. The parks that we have, the library, the MCI, and that's one of them. So thank you for bringing that up, making that an issue. So the one thing I was going to mention, Brent, you got me thinking about that. So if I could make just another suggestion, is that I don't know how well the town would do in property management, given that we're just having a hard time getting our roads paved. But I'm thinking of something like
partnership.
No, I got you. But look at something like the Libra Foundation, something like that. And we have some people in town that are very well connected on a national scale, and we do have properties that can be desirable if people can picture an empty lot and what they could do with it.
Didn't the town build that spec building out in the industrial park and sold it? You could do the same thing. Grants partnership.
Understood that, and that's, you know, as Peter had mentioned, it's almost like we're ready for a renaissance, because when he came on board here in the early 70s or mid 70s, you had the town hall that was there. I don't know if you remember that. Remember the jail that was down below there, and just what an awful place that was, and everything that got done in that very relatively short span in the history of the town.
You spend the night there? You read to the jail, so you must have been.
It was a tour for school.
Oh, right.
Your old man showed me that. Spend the night. Maybe use this. So the other thing I want to mention that you brought up, Brent, about the building codes. There's a gentleman I talked to on the Sibley Pond Road when I was getting signatures to be put on the ballot. He was doing just a refurbishment on a porch, just on the front porch of his house. And according to the code, he was told he had to have an engineering drawing made of just putting up supports on the porch. They are overbearing for what we do for basic homes, you know, for building a university or building a factory, structures like that. I get it. That does have to be looked at, along with the charter. So we have to look at the charter. We have to look at the building codes. How can we do that better? So to segue into that, this CEO has been a topic for the last several months, and it's been building for a long time. And the one thing that I think we've all come to realize, we don't have a full-time CEO dedicated to this town. It's a 80-hour-a-week job that we're asking them doing 40, plus we're sharing with other towns, and it's part-time. So budget time comes around, we're going to start our first workshop in August. So get your vacations in, because we all love the budget season. So it's something we really have to give some thought. I would consider that an investment in our future. We've cut it. It's been a short-term thing. Looking back on it, maybe it wasn't the smartest thing. The other example I have is 2018. We decided to put $500,000 every year for the highways and the roads. That got cut because of cost. And that's why I mentioned to Catherine, and we have some department heads in here now that I will expect, and I will request that not a 5% cut, but holding the line on all departments so we can have that little buffer. I mean, it's going to have to take some cinching belts. But, you know, you can't plant, you can't grow a tree until you plant that seed. And we're still trying to till the soil so we can plant that seed. So that's a couple things I have. Quick question for you, Catherine, if you would please. Two of them. So we've got this $1 million resolution we have for paving the roads. How are we doing with the sewer projects, like up in the projects, Bertram Terrace? Are we still on schedule for that?
All right, so we have a number of projects that we applied for. We have the water design, we have the sewer projects that we've applied for, and we have the Main Street project. So Annalise is working on revisions to the water and sewer department so it will operate more efficiently and effectively. And then we're proceeding on to these projects. And so we'll be needing to do a timeline for the projects because they're all in different stages. Some are design only, some are design and construction. Then we're going to have to add to some of them, so we need a complete schedule. And now with the Main Street one, she'll have more relaxed time because they can only go so far on Main Street because of the PPI. So they'll head over to these other projects now.
So are we on schedule with breaking ground some of these this year?
There's no way to break ground this summer just because of the way the funding is.
This year?
No, there's no way to break ground. But we
So
can
was that not the original intent?
No, because there's no way to do that. We will have different stages done. The best time to put the projects out would be in very early spring, late winter, because the contractors have no work, and then you usually get really.
No, I understand that. That's fine. I thought it was this year. No problem. Just one last thing. Where are we on the town computer systems? Not the tree or the other things. The servers, the computers. You were going to talk with a very generous offer from Mr. Mayhew to have Chimbro come over here and help with the computer systems. Where are we with that?
The gentleman said, Mr. Rodriguez, that once his schedule got unfilled, he would be back. So he'll be back with some questions. He was going to work on digitization ideas, the drop-down sequences,
So it's still in process.
Yeah, the little pods.
Yeah. Do we know? Does he have a schedule?
No, I didn't, because he was so busy, I didn't want to bother him.
All right.
But he's got 3 projects that he was going to work on.
Okay, very good. So it's still in process. We'll make sure that at least it has life.
Yeah,
Okay.
he was very good. So I'm excited. This means that I can put in the full-time code officer in the digitization projects without getting chewed on.
No one said that. We just understand it's got to be done. All right, so that's all I have for this evening. So I will look for a motion to move into executive session, please.
I'll make a motion that we move into executive session.
Move to second. Thank you very much.
Who was the second?
Ron. All those in favor? All right, very well. We will go into executive session. We leave a note on the desk, and I'll put the time. I will ask that Deputy Mayor Roger Rice make the motion, and Council Frost would you second to come out of executive session?
Yep.
Okay.
Then we need the meeting to adjourn. Do you want the same one?
Yeah, we do the same to actually just people make a motion to adjourn, and just leave a notepad on the desk and I'll put the time.
What's the name of the company didn't we get a contract, an IT contract with a company based out of Waterville or Augusta? No, it was something since then. It was a different company. It was...
Still a hard number? Still a hard
I thought they were the ones that had put us in contact with the company, chronologically, but another out of the Waterville area.
So the
Joe Craig was the name of the manager. He's an ITIS guy.
police department
Because, okay, so I know the guy that running that business. Anyway, I hear really good things about them. Yeah. Yeah, but from what I gather, I remember.
It has such a huge turnover.
Yeah, you don't get what you need. Yeah. Okay. I remembered somebody contracting with them, but I couldn't remember. It was the police department. That's right.
No, that sounds like a change.
Yeah, we should switch.
Sounds awesome. Do it that way.
Whenever.
Desk